Okay, camera tutor here. Today we are going to be talking about depth of field, and basically what your depth of field is it is kind of like an invisible wall in front of your subject. With a low aperture, your depth of field is going to be very, very shallow. It's very easy to blur out the background in that situation. If you go to a higher depth of field, like an f16 and f22, something like that, you can actually pretty much see for infinity, and that's what you would use for a good landscape shot. Generally, with landscapes, you want to see everything. What I'm going to set up for you is a little scenario where I've got Robin Hood here, and he is going to be shooting at several little colored targets that are different places, and that should be a good illustration of what your depth of field is. As you can see, as we scroll through it with a low aperture, we're at aperture 3.5. Everything slowly comes into focus, and as we bump our aperture up, we're at a 8. Notice how everything is kind of in focus. All the targets become in focus. This is out of our bird's eye view. We have Robin Hood and all of his little targets over here. And as we had a low aperture, we were able to get him in focus, but our focus would kind of only be this much. As we turn, that's our invisible wall. Anything beyond, so this way of the invisible wall, we will not be able to see. It's out of focus. It's going to be blurry. Now, as we focus, what we're doing is we're actually moving this invisible wall. So as we focus, we are actually moving this little invisible wall to get certain targets in focus. That's why we were able to get the back ones in focus, but nothing this way was in focus. So as we turned this was at an aperture of 3.5, as we turned our aperture up, our wall started to get bigger, so we were able to get more things in focus. The higher your aperture goes, the thicker kind of your wall gets for focusing, and the more stuff you're able to get in focus. Now we're able, let's say, right about here, this would be, I don't know, an aperture of somewhere around an 8 or so. We are able to now get Robin Hood in focus and pretty much all of his targets. And as we focus, it moves, and we have more thickness in that invisible wall, more things that are going to be in focus. Anything that is in this area is what is going to be in focus. Anything that is not, so anything back over this side or back this way, we will not be able to see. In order to make your wall even further, you would change your aperture to a higher number. So change it to even a 16 or 22, and that would mean that you can pretty much see forever. Your focus is going to start over here, but it's going to be more of a landscape type aperture where you want to see everything. You're going to be able to, because there is that invisible wall now goes on forever. There is no limitation to it. So this would be your aperture, controlling your depth of field. So once again, small aperture, you have a small depth of field. As you focus, that small field moves to whatever you want in focus. Whatever's in front of it or behind that plane will not be in focus. If you wanted to make it bigger, then change your aperture number higher. Then as it goes higher, your wall is actually bigger, so when you move it, when you focus, your wall is bigger, you're able to get more things in focus. This would be one of the main reasons why you would want to or the creative reason why you would want to control what aperture you use. Just don't leave it on automatic mode and let it shoot away. The camera will choose each individual thing for you. So that's basically that. A good thing to do to learn your aperture, or learn how your aperture controls your depth of field. If you're shooting with Canon, of course this is a Canon, turn your mode dial to the AV. That stands in Canon speak for aperture value. If you're shooting Nikon or any others, it's just going to be an A. So turn your camera to A mode, and what you're going to do from there, take a picture at the lowest aperture that your lens allows, and then go ahead and move it up to a higher aperture. And what you can even do is you can go ahead and let's say we started out at 3.5, take a picture, then go to what's actually 3.5, go up to a 4, take a picture, go up to a 5.6, take a picture, go up to an 8, take a picture, and so on and so forth, up to an 11, and then all the way up to a 16th. All those little spots in between those are actually thirds of a stop. So from the 11 to the f16, there's actually 3 stops. It just lets you fine-tune your exposure a little bit better. But what I would do is take pictures at each one of those apertures. Of course, choose something that there's a lot of different things in front of you. If you are in a bunch of forest with a bunch of trees or something like that, or just choose something of have 5 or 6 people stand 10 feet apart. Of course, one standing 10 feet in front of you, and then one person standing 20 feet in front of you, and take your pictures, and then bring them back and put them on your computer, and you can actually see how everything, how your depth of field will change. So, this is Camera Tutor, and you can definitely check out my website, cameratutor.com. That will give you much more information. I try and write everything out as simply as I can, but I find that I'm not a very good writer, and I definitely can talk things out a little bit better than I can write. So please leave me comments. Let me know if you have specific questions. Leave comments on the website, and I will definitely try and answer those in further videos, or just with comments directly back to you. So once again, this is the Camera Tutor. Thanks for watching.